An instructional video by Jace Consulting Group. All right, in this installment, we're going to talk about a traffic report on your health check. So, if your site has an issue, say like a Viswar, for example, on this particular site here, we're dealing with a Viswar on 2100 Alpha, and the Viswar itself is an issue, of course, and we need to solve it. But the site began to have some rain and some storms rolled in on the crew here, so the crew had to pull down off the tower, right? So they called and they asked if they were going to be okay, and we reached out to QuadGen, who's the health check administrator here on this site, and we asked QuadGen if the site was taking traffic, and this is the report that they sent us, right? So they told us that 2100 is taking traffic, and there's a high Viswar on port B, plus this issue on the RET here is disabled on beta. But they sent us this little graph right here, and I wanted to talk with you a little bit about this graph and what exactly everything means. So we see cell ID. If you watch the basic health check videos, you'll see that the cell ID is just an arbitrary number that's given to that particular node on the cell. So this is 22 is 2100 alpha, 23 is beta, 24 is gamma, and so on. 8, 9, and 10, maybe 1900, 15, 16, 17. 8, 9, and 10 is probably 700, and 15, 16, 17 is probably 1900. But either way, we can see it. We have some other numbers in this little matrix that they sent us. Traffic reports are great to ask for if you have an issue that you can't solve immediately. Maybe you need to order or get a jumper or something like that, and you want to know if the issue is actually causing that technology or node to not take traffic or to drop calls, for instance, right? So if you see number of UEs, right? So number of UEs would be end users, right? So this means that there are 24 end users using that Alpha 2100 node right now. There's 44 end users using beta and 65 using gamma. So we see differences in the numbers here. For instance, there's almost a double the number of end users on beta and even more using gamma. So there's several reasons for that. It could be that some of those callers are not able to get on the Alpha 2100 node, but most likely it's because beta and gamma are pointed towards a higher traffic volume area, for instance, pointed in towards the city or down the highway, whereas Alpha may be pointed into a more rural area, like out into the woods or something like that. And there's just not as many people, concentrated in front of the Alpha sector. And it just doesn't have as many end users on it. Interestingly enough, though, we see these numbers kind of correspond, right? So we see double the number of bearers, almost double the number of bearers on beta, and double the number of bearers on gamma. So when we see numbers that look like that, for instance, 24, 44, and then 65, so we see, about a 20 UEs more on each sector, and then also about double the number of bearers on each sector respectively. When we see the numbers, they look kind of right like that, then we have a good indication that sector is behaving the way that we want it to, and it'll probably hold out until the storm ends. We don't have to worry about it, or if nighttime's coming, in which case on this site nighttime is coming, and the crew's not going to have time to fix it. So we need to know if we need to lock that down overnight. If it's not taking traffic, or we see extremely weird numbers, like 24 end users but only 10, 12 bearers, then we have a problem there, right? And we need to talk to QuadGen about maybe locking that down so that the end users, people trying to make calls, are not able to access that carrier signal, right? They're not able to their cell phone will not ask to try to make a call on the 2100 alpha node. It'll just skip over that and use the next bandwidth available. Coincidentally, the number of bearers, that actually is a pretty the bearers are like kind of channels or tunnels used inside the frequency. Just for your own knowledge here, each frequency is broken down. We talked about some of that in the in the basic health check videos, but bearers are like tunnels or channels inside your uh, bandwidth, and it basically based on how much information is needed that the end users that are using that node need at the time, the node kind of negotiates for the number of bearers available at that any given time. So as the number of users goes up, the number of bearers will also go up. And if we don't see that correlation, then we know we have a problem. Then we know that we're not taking traffic or something's not right. But when we see numbers that look like this, where it's double here and then double again here and then double again here, and all the sectors look like, okay, alpha's taking some traffic and then beta's taking even more and gamma's taking even more, then okay, we're happy with readings like this. But traffic reports are vital. We can use them to determine if the issue that we're having is actually affecting the node's ability to take traffic, right? And that's kind of important. We can also see that alpha is lower on every single sector, right? So we're pretty happy with this traffic report right here. Alpha 2100 is going to go ahead and operate overnight, and it should be fine to wait into the morning. So if you have an alarm at the end of the day, or you're getting rained on or something, and you want to know whether that needs to be locked down or really maybe you should send a climber up in the rain with some rain gear on and fix it if it's really important. If it's definitely not taking traffic or something's really bad and you have to fix it. A traffic report is another tool that we can use to determine exactly what's happening inside the node. And you can specifically ask QuadGen or whoever your controller is to give you a traffic report on whatever technology you're researching.